Hello, everyone. This is our analytics presentation on drafting a #1 draft pick. My name is Ava, and for the context of this presentation, I am just a respectful bystander of the NHL.
And I'm Ella, and I know enough for the both of us. So the basic premise of our project was we're looking at past #1 draft picks to try to project where Max Celebrini will be in 5 years. So Max Celebrini was projected by scouts to be a dynamic two-way center. He played at Boston University his freshman year as a 17-year-old, and he scored 64 points in 38 games, which is very impressive. He won Hockey East Player of the Year, Hockey East Rookie of the Year, Hockey East Scoring Champion, and was the youngest player to win the Hobie Baker Award, which goes to the best overall NCAA men's ice hockey player. So with all of those in mind, he was the overwhelming favorite going into the 2024 draft, where the San Jose Sharks got the lottery pick, and they selected him first, and he decided to play that next 2024-2025 season instead of returning to the U for his sophomore season. So these are the 12 players we looked at. They are the past 20 #1 picks, excluding the last 5 years and excluding goalies and defenders. So we'll go into a little more what the graphs look like and which players we decided to highlight in the next.
So this is a graph of the points per game for each of those players. And then from that, we created or calculated the average of this stat. And points per game is just the amount of assists or goals a player had in a game. And then for reference, having 1 or above is like really, really good. So obviously they all pretty impressive with their points per game.
So these are the 3 players we decided to highlight. We have John Tavares, who was selected by the Islanders in 2009. We have Patrick Kane, who was selected by the Blackhawks in 2007, and Connor McDavid, who was selected by the Oilers in 2015. And so we'll go into later why we decided to highlight these specific players. But as you can see, they have tons of accolades. I mean, you might recognize some of their names. They're like some of the best players in the NHL. And something specific that we highlighted is where they placed in the Calder Trophy race. And the Calder Trophy goes to the best rookie in the NHL their first season. And so I'll go into more later, but Tavares finished 5th. Patrick Kane won it in 2007, and Connor McDavid finished 3rd in the Calder Trophy race.
So the reason, again, just a reminder of our average points per game, but the reason we chose to look at Tavares is because he's kind of the player that embodies this average, with his points per game being this line. And we just kind of wanted to show that he is the average, being the midline of these stats, and he still was in the Calder Trophy race. He was still very much decorated as a player. So even within this set, he's still really good. The average is still very impressive. And then from the average points per game, that's kind of how we made projections for Celebrini. So looking at this is again still points per game, but at this time we're looking at Patrick Kane. And the reason we're looking at him is because he and Celebrini had very, very similar year 1 points per game. And so we obviously Celebrini is projected from the average from before. But comparing him to Kane kind of highlights kind of the range that he can have in his points per game over time. Kane obviously fluctuated, and that's accounting for injuries or anything that's uncontrollable like that. So we thought that this really showed like kind of the ideal projection for Celebrini and then what is probably more feasible for his career. And then the next stat we wanted to look at is actually average ice time. And so we thought it was more of a qualitative measurement, even though it is obviously numbers, but it shows their skill because they have to be really good at defense and offense. And as Ella explained to me, or they have to be overwhelmingly amazing at one of them to stay on the ice for that amount of time. And it also shows trust within the franchise and the coaching staff to keep them on over other players. So we projected Celebrini off of McDavid because obviously the first 2 bars are Celebrini McDavid. But they were very similar in their first year. But then looking at Crosby, who had the most in his first year, and Stamkos, who had the least, you can see that over time they all kind of even out to the same amount and build kind of a similar amount of trust within their franchises. So this is kind of all just to say that Celebrini starting out at the level he is right now is very impressive. Like being a rookie and having this amount of respect and trust and ice time gives him the chance to have a higher points per game, to have more of these, impressive accolades, and yeah.
So what's next for Celebrini? So here we can see his first goal, which was in the home opener. He has a little behind the back pass. It deflects off of a defender's skate, which is kind of a fun, lucky goal. And then his most recent goal came April 9th. Is actually his first career hat trick, which as a rookie is very impressive. And it comes from a pass from his teammate Will Smith behind the net, and then he holds on to it for just enough time and scores a nice goal. So you can see the little improvement in those little clips. But basically what we're saying is that comparing him to these previous 12 players, he's already better than them or equal to them in almost all of the stats we looked at, which is just showing how much he can grow in the future. And while his projections might look more like Patrick Kane's or have more fluctuations that we can't really account for, even if he does go under the line that we project, he is very, very likely to be the phenomenal two-way franchise player that scouts projected him to be before the draft.
And so for all of the people who may not know hockey, maybe like me, all you need to know from what we've just said is he's gonna be good.
Thank you.